With a net worth of about $180 billion, the businessman Bernard Arnault is officially the richest man on the planet. His journey to getting where he is, unlike most billionaires, is pretty unique to say the least. Hello everyone, how are you all doing? Welcome back to our channel, LVMH, the success story of Bernard Arnault, the richest man in the world. Let's have a look into it. Number 5. Early life. Bernard Arnault was born on the 5th of March 1949, just 4 years after the end of the Second World War. He was given the name of Bernard Jean-Étienne Arnault on the day of his birth. Bernard was born to a well-off manufacturer, Jean-Léon Arnault, who was the owner of a civil engineering company by the name of Ferret-Savinel. As a child, Bernard was quite interested in the business aspect of his father's work. The young boy's keen interest was sensed by many of those who were around him. When Bernard grew up, he attended Maxence van der Meesch High School in the city of Roubaix. He graduated with pretty much flying colors, which is something that got him into a very prestigious university called École Polytechnique. Bernard graduated from there in 1971 with a degree in engineering, which was something that was not an easy feat to accomplish during that time. Number 4. Bernard's rise to power. After officially becoming an engineer, Bernard decided to become a cog in the wheel of his father's business. This, of course, gave him an opportunity to learn just how a business operated. Bernard, with his smarts, wanted to expand his father's company, get it to the level his father never even dreamt of. In short, he wanted it to be more profitable. The first thing Bernard did was convince his father to forget the construction division of his company, and instead reap the benefits. This may sound strange, but the young genius was definitely up to something. Trusting his son, Jean disbanded the construction division and began investing in real estate, as per his son's advice. The advice turned out to be quite fruitful for the family. Bernard, upon gaining his father's trust and colleagues' respect, was able to rise up the ranks very efficiently. He became the Director of Development in 1974, just 3 years after graduating. In 1977, he became CEO, and 2 years later in 1979, he became President, completely taking over the company. Number 3. A mild setback. In the year 1981, a sort of setback made its way into Bernard's life. It wasn't only he who was affected, but his whole family. This was a time when French socialists forced the Arnaults into fleeing to America. Bernard didn't let this hold him back. Even from America, he continued his efforts into growing his real estate empire. Bernard returned to France a couple of years later when things cooled down. He immediately saw an opportunity to step into the textile industry when the famous firm Bussat Saint-Ferré was going through a rough patch. Have you ever heard the phrase, "strike while the iron is hot"? Well, this is exactly what Bernard did. He worked with a managing partner by the name of Antoine Borheim, who helped fund Bernard's purchase of Bussat. When he was finally able to buy the company, Bernard quickly sold most of its shares, but kept only one brand with himself. That brand was Dior. Bernard became its CEO in 1985. Before we continue, make sure to like the video and hit the subscribe button if you're enjoying it. Also press the bell icon so that you don't miss out on any of our upcoming content. Now, let's get back to what we were talking about. Number 2. LVMH Moët Hennessy Louis Vuitton. At the height of his career in 1987, another company caught Bernard's attention. We're talking about LVMH. Investing in this particular brand was probably one of the best business decisions he ever made. Let us explain why. Bernard invested in a joint share with the Guinness plc and got his claws into LVMH. The next few years were quite a ride for both him and the company. Bernard continued putting more and more cash into the company, slowly taking it over as he usually did. By 1989, he was the owner of nearly half of the company. This was when Bernard started getting rid of the old, less efficient employees with better ones, which of course bumped the quality of operations of the company up a few notches. And in doing so, he got even richer than he already was. If he wasn't making crazy amounts of money before, well then, he definitely was now. Bernard then became sort of a business nomad. He would acquire new businesses, pump them with his money, and help them reach the level they had never seen. It was almost like everything he touched turned to gold. His other companies include Sephora, Marc Jacobs, Guerlain, as well as many other famous brands. Number 1. The Good Billionaire? Apart from making Bernard tons of money, his companies, especially LVMH, is a part of a wide array of philanthropic activities. Believe it or not, the company supports humanitarian, medical, scientific, and research organizations all across the world. It's involved in saving human beings by donating to NGOs as well as to hospitals. Sure, we hear a lot of billionaires being self-centered demons who care about nothing other than themselves and their money, but in Bernard Arnault's case, he definitely cares about those around him, which include people in general, the citizens of planet Earth. This brings us to the end of our video. Here was a look into the success story of the major shareholder of LVMH, the richest man in the world, Bernard Arnault.